Welcome back to another video. I am not a financial advisor. This is my advisor, and today we're going to be talking about HCMC, and we're going to be diving into its charts, what it did in the past couple weeks, and then I'm going to try and help you figure out where it might be going in the weeks to come, specifically this next week, so March 1st to March 5th. Basically, just going to give you guys some key support and resistance lines on what I'm seeing on the charts, to maybe give you a better understanding of where the stock could be going and why it could be doing what it's doing. So this is what the final result is going to end up looking like on our chart. So if you want to definitely see how I got here, you will have to stick around to see the whole video. Don't worry, it should be rather informative. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove all of this fun stuff and basically redo everything and tell you how I did what I did. So this is currently the 90-day 1-hour chart, especially for stocks like this, because it popped so quick and is now on the decline. There isn't anything going on back here. Normally, I do like to start at the 180-day just to maybe see if there's any key price points way back here, but as you can clearly see, this stock has literally been doing nothing. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to jump right into the 20-day 1-hour charts. As you can see, this is the 20-day 1-hour chart. As you can see, it clearly went straight up, and now it is pulling back. And let's just try and make some sense into why it's doing what it's doing. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to draw the Fibonacci Retracements. For those of you that have not watched any of my videos, I love these things. They are magical. For those of you that don't know what the heck these are, Fibonacci Retracements are basically the Fibonacci sequence. And if that doesn't ring a bell, think of like the golden spiral. Basically, these numbers, these patterns are frequently found in nature. And while the stock market is not nature, for whatever reason, it works here. So we use it, and as you can see, it uses it as well, almost to a T. So this is the 20-day chart. So maybe this is like a week and a half ago. It was using this 0.0018 line as resistance for almost the entire week right here. You can see also this blue line is the 20-day moving average for stocks. That for when we're looking at stocks in this close of a window, the 20-day moving average seems to be the average that the stock coincides with the most in terms of using it as support and resistance, and it just sort of follows it. So clearly this 0.0018 was resistance 2-ish weeks ago, and as you can see on Friday, that is where it ended up. Actually it closed below it, just barely, 0.0175. So I would expect that to be the case on Monday. If it opens below it, this will now be resistance, and if it opens above it, it should be able to bounce off of it as support. But just to give you some more idea on how these Fibonacci retracements work and why I like them so much, you can just clearly see, if I draw like basically the last 2 weeks or so, you can see that it bounces off of it and then it uses it as resistance and support, especially when the stock hasn't really been doing a whole lot. It's basically just been trending downwards. It almost uses these green lines, which is the Fibonacci retracements, as almost like they almost use them like stairs. And stairs work both ways. It's not just stairs leading down. Stairs can also go up. So think about that like this. They rarely jump more than one green line at once. Obviously, they can. I'm not saying that they never, but they typically just move from one green line to the next in one candle. This one is not something that happens all the time, as you can see. But when a stock is as volatile as this one, that shouldn't be surprising. So basically, you can see that this stock also follows these green lines. It lived on this green line last Friday, and then this was Monday of this week. So that was what, the 21st And it didn't really do much. It definitely was just chilling in between the pattern or this channel of 0.0042 and 0.0035. It was toying around with the idea of the 20-day moving average. It was just kind of doing whatever it was doing. And then we opened up on Tuesday, and we had a pretty significant drop, unfortunately. But the 0.0027 line saved us with support. Bounced right back up, but we did not test the 0.0035 level and ended up closing somewhere in the middle of that channel. Whereas Wednesday, we lived on the 0.0027 line. We were holding onto that line for dear life. Oh, nope, didn't want to do that. Hold on, please. We were well below the 20-day moving average, so that was no help. And then we tried to break it. So the 20-day moving average is obviously something that the stock follows, but it also uses it as a line of support and resistance. So the fact that it was below it all day on Wednesday, we knew that it was going to have to break through this trend line, and that wasn't necessarily going to be easy. As you can see, if we zoom in here on Thursday, this was the open on Thursday. It tried to break the 20-day trend line. This candle, it didn't. It tried to break it and close above it on this candle, and it didn't. And at the end of the day, that was just too much. And it was basically squeezed below the 0.0027 support level, where it was not happy. And then it just remained stagnant for the rest of the day. Thursday, and then pre-market on Friday, we had a couple pretty big red candles. We were saved by the 0.0018 trend line, where we hung out there for a bit. We maybe thought about bouncing out with this 3 green candle trend line, and then we were hit with a spinning top, which basically spinning top candle looks like this. There is no direction. The bulls nor the bears have any idea of where the heck the stock is going to go. So the next candle usually will be a one to the upside or one to the downside. And in this case, we got the downside candle. We ended up breaking below the 0.0018 trend line, and we could not get above it. I am filming this shortly after close on Friday the 26th, so it can still move a little bit in the after hours, but I am not anticipating it breaking the 0.0018 line after hours. So let's zoom out a little bit and draw some trend lines. Now, when it comes to trend lines, I don't love trend lines. I use them more as a visual. The reason why I don't necessarily love trend lines is because you can basically create your own truth when it comes to a trend line. You can basically just be like, yeah, these two things line up, therefore this is a real trend line. The only thing that I like to do with trend lines is just draw channels. I like to draw where stocks are frequently touching, and for the most part, the most frequently channels you're going to see are downward and upward channels. You will sometimes see like triangle patterns, channels, which I mean, technically you could say that we might be in a triangle pattern here with, if this was the base, and if that's the case, we're not there yet. But for the time being, I'm just going to show that this is a downward trend at the moment, which I don't think you would be surprised if you were watching this video and following the stock. So basically what we're seeing here is this is the upper trend line, this is the bottom trend line. What you would ideally like to see is you want to see the stock at the top of the trend line to basically try to break out of the trend. And I think that's what happened here, because as you can see, this candle touched the trend line and it tried to break it, and in the next candle, it was immediately rejected and sent down to 2 levels below where it should have ended up. So they are sort of difficult to break because now, granted, here it broke it. It came down. It definitely broke the trend line. I'm not trying to hide that. But what it ended up happening was it hit off of this 0.0042 trend line, and then in the pre-market of the next day, it said, nope, I'm getting back into that channel. I'm getting above that 20-day moving line, and we are going to see if we can break out. But as we saw in the next coming days, it did not. So because it's not either at the top nor at the bottom, we pretty much just have to wait and figure out where is it going to be on Monday. I can't tell you that. We're just going to have to wait and see. Obviously, it would be fantastic if it opened above the 0.118 line, because if it did that, not only would it be above this line, but it would be technically above the downward trend. So that would be huge, because when you break out of the downward trend, because when you break out of it, that line that you're breaking out of is resistance. And so when you break out of it, that line then becomes support. And so that's huge. So moving forward, as far as Monday goes, what should we be looking for? What price points are key? Well, I hate to say it, but we definitely could see it dropping all the way down to 0.0004. If that is the case, that's not looking good, because, well, to be honest, it can't go much lower than that. So that's not a good sign. But the thing that concerns me is that if it opens below 0.0018, and then if it tries to break this trend line and fails, it's just, we're waiting for the inevitable to happen of it basically not being able to break out of this trend line and breaking this 0.0014. So unless like there's major news that comes out, I would not be shocked if we just saw much of the same this upcoming week, March 1st through the 5th, where it pretty much just continues this downward trend, eventually bottoms out at 0.0014, and then it's going to have to figure out what it's going to do. Is it going to resort back to what it was doing 3-4 months ago and hovering basically around 0.0001? Or is it going to bounce this off and maybe attack the 0.0018 line again? If you guys liked this technical analysis video and you just liked the way that I broke down this chart, I do other technical analysis videos on other charts, and I believe I'm going to start posting them basically every weekend to sort of give you guys an idea of what to be looking forward to in the upcoming week, to sort of give you your weekly game plan for what to expect with the stock. And then during the week, I'll make videos about news on stocks whenever it comes out. So if you liked this breakdown of this chart, feel free to subscribe and turn that notification bell on so that you can definitely see these videos as soon as they come out. And as always, I will see you guys next video.